Hi, my name is Kajang and I like reading and I like learning languages. So if you clicked on this video, I suspect that you might have the same issues as me, where you read in a different language but you can't really process it the same way you would have in something you're more familiar with. So I want to give you just these little tips, okay? Because you still want to read in different kinds of languages. So I want to show you a kind of guideline on what you can do to make reading more effective so you won't be struggling throughout the whole journey. So side note, this is not a guide to instantly become a genius at learning languages and reading them. This is just how you should probably go about them. So the first thing for me, when I read in a foreign language, I can't really understand things. Like there are words, there are vocabs I won't be able to get. And when that happens, I lose that focus. Because what's the point? I don't get anything. You can't really picture anything while you're reading. And that causes you and I to lose focus. So if you're struggling with just the focus part, have audio assistance with you. So by audio assistance, I mean audiobooks, I mean narration, and audiobooks can really help you just in general figure out the pronunciation of words. But let's say you don't have access to an audiobook, it's perfectly fine. So what you can do to combat this, try to read it aloud. So this might differ, because if you're reading on a different script, you might find this harder, but let's say it's a script you're very used to, read it out to yourself. You will sound like an idiot because you don't understand anything, and there's a high chance you might get pronunciations wrong. But the thing is, at least you're reading it out loud, so you're reminding yourself to stay in the story and not drift out. In summary, read with audio assistance, narrate it to yourself, or have someone narrate it for you, aka audiobooks. To our second point, which I argue is probably more important, which is comprehension. You got that focus, but you still don't understand anything. So how can you combat this to understand the work? Obviously, I want to introduce to you two terms in the language learning community. There is intensive reading and extensive reading. So what is this? Intensive is when you read something and you come across something you don't understand. What you do that research. You pull up your dictionaries, you look through Google, you look it up, and you find that meaning. You learn new vocab. That's intensive. Extensive reading is when you don't do any of that. It's more what you would do in a language you're more familiar with. So you don't do that extra research when you come across a word. What you would probably do, what I would probably do, guess that meaning. You should not be thinking which one is better, but how you can use both. This way, I want to introduce you to a method that I saw from Korean with Kat in her video How to Study Korean in Korean Novels. So, put it simply, she reads all the way, let's say, to chapter 1 extensively without doing any extra research, and when she comes across words she doesn't understand, she might underline them, circle them, bracket them, you get the idea. And when she does that, she can stop for a while, a week, a day, or instantly pick up all the way from chapter 1 and look at all the words she didn't understand and do that research on all those words. It's gonna be a lot if you're still really new to the language, but that's the point of learning, you know? So don't be intimidated by that fact. From that onwards, you just repeat the cycle for the entire book. Now, if you don't want to annotate your books because maybe you don't like annotations or it's a borrowed book, what you can do is keep a small notebook. I personally have one where I just write down the vocabs. I write the book. What I would do, I write the book title, then the vocabs I don't understand, and I write down the page number, because when you do that research, that word might have multiple meanings and you want to know the context so you can understand it better. So always look back to the page number where you found that phrase in the first place. So another way I would recommend this. So let's say you're not as hardworking, you're not as diligent as Kat may be. What I would personally do in languages I feel like I can communicate in this. Every time you come across a word you don't understand and you cannot guess that meaning, if it has come across the book twice, more than twice, you write it down. High chances you're gonna remember that vocab a lot clearly because you saw it twice or more and you still couldn't guess the meaning with all that context around you. That's it, because a lot of times if you see a word repeatedly and you can kind of guess the context of it, you can guess the meaning of it. So in the end, you're gonna learn that word from all that context. But key point on this one, if you don't have a high understanding of the basic words around you, you can't get that because you'll be confused by simple words. So still, I do think Kat's method of reading is really good if you want to grasp everything. Because at the end of the day, you know what really matters is if you start reading or not. So we're ending this video. I'm gonna say goodbye to you and I wish you happy reading.